After Adam and Eve stood before God in the garden, the weight of their disobedience hung heavy in the air. God spoke, not in anger alone, but in justice mixed with mercy. First, God turned to the serpent. A curse was placed upon the serpent for its deception. It would crawl on its belly and live in humiliation, and there would be hostility between the serpent and humanity forever. The serpent's victory would be short-lived. Then God spoke words of hope, hidden within judgment, the promise of the seed. God declared that one day a descendant of the woman would crush the serpent's head. Though the serpent would strike the heel, it would ultimately be defeated. Even in the moment of humanity's fall, God planted the promise of redemption. Next, God spoke to Eve. The consequences for Eve were sorrowful but purposeful. Childbearing would now come with pain, and relationships would be marked by struggle. Yet, through her, life would continue, and through her line, the promised seed would come. God then addressed Adam. The consequences for Adam touched the ground from which he was made. Because he listened to another voice instead of God's, the earth itself would resist him. Pain and toil were introduced into human labor. The ground would produce thorns and thistles, and survival would come through hard work and sweat. Life would no longer be effortless. God reminded Adam that he was formed from dust, and to dust he would return. Death entered the human story not as God's desire, but as the result of sin. Yet even in judgment, God showed mercy. He clothed Adam and Eve with garments, covering their shame with care. But they could no longer remain in the garden. The expulsion from Eden was necessary. The place of perfect communion could not remain a home for fallen humanity. God sent them out not without sorrow, but with purpose, so they would not eat from the tree of life and live forever in a broken state. At the entrance of the garden, cherubim were placed to guard it, with a flaming sword flashing back and forth. Eden was closed, but hope was not lost. Beyond the guarded gate, humanity stepped into a world of struggle and labor, but also into a future shaped by God's promise. For though Eden was behind them, redemption lay ahead, and the seed would come.